Hi, welcome everybody. Welcome to the channel. How are you? How are you doing today? My name is Dr. Sylvia. I'm a general practitioner. I'm also a health educator with Askeway Health. I'm so pleased that you can join me to watch this video where we're talking about something really important. And it's not going to be a very long one, but because I think what's important is just the awareness about this and the challenging situation that many people have to face. And I think sometimes if it's not happened to you, it's easy to say, well, you should have done this or you could do that. But when you're the one wearing the shoe, then you have to make those tough decisions. So we're talking about making hard decisions after prenatal screening. So as you know, many people may or may not know, one of the things that happens during antenatal care, I'm a general practitioner, I work in the United Kingdom, and one of the things that happens after a woman is pregnant, and I think this presents in different parts of the world, is that there are different types of screening to identify whether the baby that she's carrying may be at any risk of inherited conditions. So there are different tests that are conducted, and these initial tests, usually blood tests, they are screening tests. And before having the screening test, usually there's a discussion. You are told the implication of the test. So, for example, if you're going to have a blood test for certain chromosomal conditions or abnormalities, like Down syndrome, for example, you'll be told that if the result comes back as this level, then the risk of this child having this condition is low. But if the result comes back at this level, then the risk is high. And so you have to make your mind up as to what you do next. Do you want to go further to get more information about this baby? Do you not want to? Do you just think, well, I want to have this child regardless? Or if you do decide to go ahead and have further tests, so those ones we might call them diagnostic tests, they may give us a closer idea of what if the baby is carrying any condition. If the results of those ones come out and show that the baby also has confirms that the baby does have genetic problems, that means that they may be less likely to lead a normal life, whether because for different reasons, and it may have so many different implications. It may have to do with continuous illness, learning disability, for example, certain conditions where they have to rely nearly 24/7 on medical care. You're given that information as the parent, and you have to make a judgment as to whether or not you want to carry on with that pregnancy. So it's a tough situation. It's a tough situation. So one that I know is one that's very dear to my heart. And if you've been a long-time viewer on the channel, you know that we talk a lot about sickle cell disease, sickle cell anemia, and I have a few videos on the playlist about it, explaining sickle cell anemia, particularly to West African countries like Nigeria, where it's the condition is so prevalent. Explaining to people how it happens, because thanks to lack of awareness, several years ago, it used to be thought to be a spiritual attack or the fault of one parent, and different reasons were ascribed to having this condition. People didn't know what was going on and its genetic origin. So it was important to educate people, encourage them to go and do a genotype test so they can know their genotypes and then decide what they want to do in their relationships, because there are options. But I think the biggest challenge has to be the fact that in low and middle income countries, sometimes, even though there are emerging breakthroughs in the treatment of sickle cell disease or sickle cell anemia, it doesn't get to those areas. These are still poor countries where people may not have access to the care that they need and that they deserve. And so some people will say prevention is better than cure. Don't even get into the relationship. Early on, do your genotype before love starts stirring. And if you guys are both AS or AS, for example, are likely to have children with genotype SS, don't even go into it. There are those that take that position. There are others that decide to go together, and then perhaps they can afford the care or the further tests and procedures to help them avoid having a child with SS. All in all, these are tough decisions. But I just wanted to shed some light on the topic, the nature of the challenge that some couples would face. And I wanted to do that by sharing this video that I came across from one of the other channels that I follow on YouTube. And here, I wanted to hear this conversation out. Well, conversation is a self-conversation, is a dialogue that this gentleman is having with himself. I don't know his name, so unfortunately, I can't sort of, attribute or credit the video to him. But I think it's well worth educating. And I wonder what you think. I wonder what your position is about those decisions, if you could put yourself in the couple's shoes. Now, remember that all we're getting is his side of the story. We're not getting her side of the story. And it's always good to get a balanced view. But given that we have his side of the story, what do you think? Did he make the right decision? Was he in the wrong? Was she in the wrong, for example? How would you see it from the point of view of the child? How would you see it from the point of view of the medical practitioners and the family? So there's so many different ways to look at this. And like I said, this is not meant to judge anybody, but this is a far more common discussion in many places, or problem, I think, in many places than we think, than we realize. And of course, alongside that, I talked about prenatal testing and screening and diagnostic testing and all that. Alongside these decisions comes the need for counseling. People can't just go in, and because it's an emotional decision, you really need to have all the facts at hand and try and think as much as possible, consider as much as possible. This is something that challenges relationships, it challenges faith and belief in one's religion. It's a tough time for whoever is involved in it. So I just want us to have a listen to him, and then we'll come back and maybe just wrap up after a few minutes. If anyone wants to comment, if you're just joining, hi, I'm Dr. Sylvia, and I'm just trying to introduce a video I'm going to share in a few minutes talking about making tough decisions around prenatal counseling. I would really love for you to listen to the video, see what you think, and let me know your thoughts about the scenario that you've heard and the challenge that they've gone through, what you think, and then we'll just see. But please don't forget to like the video, consider subscribing to the channel. We do talk about everything health related, so it would be great. By the way, we are on the cusp of 16,000. I had a look on my phone just before I came on live, and it was 15,999. How tantalizing is that? In fact, let me show you. Maybe it's actually gone to 16,000 while I've been talking. Let me see. That would be amazing if it's gone to 16,000 while I've been gisting away with you guys. Okay, it's still 15,999. Yes. So we are at 15. Can you see? 999. So perhaps by the time I'm finishing this video, we'll be at 16,000. Yay! Thank you to every subscribers. You guys are you make it worth my while. I really appreciate you. And so many people drop a line appreciating the videos, appreciating the information shared. You're welcome. You are so welcome. Thank you for being part of the family. All right, guys, let's watch this video and then I'll come back at the end. It's not too long. It's about 7.5 minutes. So let's see how, what the discussion is like.
My ex decided not to abort our heavily disabled daughter, and it ruined her life. 6 years ago, I and my high school sweetheart and then girlfriend discovered that she was pregnant. We were both young, 20-year-old kids who didn't think it would happen, but thought we could take on the world together. I loved her, and a part of me now still does. The idea of building a family and starting a life was absolutely exhilarating. Then tragedy struck because we got word of what we truly got ourselves in. There were signs early on that the pregnancy just wasn't viable. But then when we did our first rounds of screenings, we learned that the fetus suffered from multiple chromosomal/genetic defects and was not developing normally. They had no faith that she would be able to carry to term and recommended aborting for her own health. I don't know why, but my ex was insistent on seeing it through. Honestly, I still to this day don't know why. She and her whole family wasn't even religious. She was really liberal in most of her views and always seemed to be pro-choice. Yet she was extremely adamant about refusing to get the abortion, despite them all being available to her. It was quickly after the realization of what we were getting ourselves into that our relationship went completely to hell. I didn't want her to carry the child to term. Not only because our daughter would live a horrible life, but because of the chances that she wasn't going to be alive after or during the birth. In the short time this has come to term, I learned more about my ex than in the 4 years we have dated. And raising a child with her became one of my biggest nightmares near the end of our relationships. In her 12th week of pregnancy, I walked away after another doctor recommended that she get an abortion. That was 6 at this point. They were incredibly worried about her own health and safety. I told her straight up, I could no longer participate in the game that she's playing. I did not want to play caretaker to a heavily disabled child at 20. I would not drop out of school to play husband and father in a situation where we already know it's going to be extremely difficult and unviable, and the lifestyle of the child is going to be unbearable. It is a twisted world that we find ourselves in, and she is dragging herself down, and I'm not going with her. The shit I got from this was tremendous, but I have not regretted anything in the 5 years since my daughter's birth. As expected, my ex had extreme complicated with her pregnancies towards the end and had to have an emergency C-section at 24 weeks. My daughter was born with a multitude of issues. At the age of 5, she cannot speak, walk on her own, and must be attended to 24 hours a day. My ex has dropped out of college and only after weeks of having the baby had to live with her parents, being a nurse 24/7 with her mother. If I had stayed in that situation, I would have ended everything a long time before this point was even reached. So I can respect my ex for sticking with it. I have paid child support, but I have not once met my daughter in person. I told my ex that the day we broke up. I love her, but I will never be a part of that child's life. I would not support her or this game that she's playing. And bringing a child into the world just to suffer was sick to me. I would not throw my life away with her. I still talk to my ex, only because in the end, I feel for her. And I provide emotional support when I can. At the end of the day, it pains me to see what we could have been, everything that could have inspired. Yesterday, a friend of mine learned of my daughter. She asked me if I regretted walking away and leaving my ex alone to care for our heavily disabled child. I told her no. I can honestly say that I don't regret anything. In a just world, my daughter would never have been born inside of a situation where she lives in this tragic state. Let's talk about the realities of my daughter's daily life. She requires 24/7 attention for a various of reasons. She cannot do anything on her own. She cannot eat on her own. She has no freedom of movement, cannot walk, run, speak, talk, and she cannot communicate in any regard outside of what an infant can. Along with this, she is on 24/7 medical watch as well. She should be in a medical facility, and I've recommended this to my ex multiple times. Or have 24/7 home care by a professional. I pay for 75% of the medical. That is not covered by our insurance or the state, and I pay for 50% of all the other expenses. She has been in development therapy since her birth, and nothing has changed at all. She has been given a 10-year life expectancy, if she's lucky. Anytime the child tries to make any movements on their own, their bones break. I don't understand how anybody would wish this life on somebody. And you may be asking how I know my ex's life was ruined because of the situation. I talked to her. I'm her emotional support. Despite everything, I do care about her very deeply. She has lost most of her autonomy. She has no social life, and her mother are on call nurses 24/7. I truly feel like this is not the life she would want to have fulfilled. But from what she tells me, it is pushing her to the brink. I have tried time and time again to get her to put our daughter into a facility with no luck whatsoever. It is not a battle that I'm interested in fight. If she doesn't want to put the child into a facility, she does not have to. She is going to have to provide adequate care of what she does. I made my choice and she made her choice. This post is not me saying that I regret the decision that I've made or regret anything that I have put myself into. This post is me saying I made a choice 5 years ago, and I'm standing by that choice. I have no real interest of arguing the morality of my choice. It is gray. There is no definitive answer whether we have brought this child into a life of pain or to not have brought this child into a life at all. It's my choice, it's her choice, and it's your thought process. But I do want to ask one question. Jonathan, in all of your wisdom, what would you do? What would you? Oh, this is for me. Me? What would I do? Hey, oh, whoa. Don't put me on the spot like that. Whoa. Okay, first off, what would you do? Put what would you do inside of the comment section. And the question is, what would you do if you know for your fact that your pregnancy probably, there's a good chance, because I'm asking the women, you can't ask the dudes because it's not, you know what I'm saying? That's why asking me isn't my choice, not my body, not my choice. Anyway, what would you do if the doctors more than 6, have told you that your baby is not going to be viable as a okay specimen or child, fetus, person being born that has multiple defects, and there's a high possibility that you will not survive through this tragic birth, and we know for a fact that your child is not going to be developed in any way? Would you still go through with the pregnancy? My ex decided not.
So, this is the question. What would you do? So, yeah, what would you do? So, I wanted to play that. Again, I don't know. We don't know all the ins and outs, but we have enough to say that this was a very, very difficult situation. We don't know what condition it is, but like I said at the beginning, you can apply it to different genetic conditions. The one I mentioned was sickle cell anemia, where children who have the SS genotype are at undergo very, very difficult medical health experiences, very lots of ill health. They have anemia, so they have low blood hemoglobin levels. They experience painful crises, so that means pain that affects their different limbs, different joints of the body. They are susceptible to infections, so you have repeated hospital admissions with very, very painful and difficult hospitalizations that require intense treatment. To actually manage, and in some cases, some may die if they succumb to some of these complications of the condition. Many do survive, but it's challenging. And just like this man that we've just listened to asked, why would you want to subject a child when you as the parent were given the information before they were born that they were at risk of having very serious medical problems in life? You have a child, you want a child to have a normal childhood, grow up with as little restrictions as possible to their growth and their development. And sometimes you have a healthy child at birth and then illness develops. But in a situation where you as a parent were aware of the illness was there before the child was born, could you have done something? Should you have done something? Again, I said this is about making tough decisions. I can't tell you what the answer to this is. I told you at the beginning that these are very emotional issues that challenge relationships, they challenge faith, people's beliefs. A whole lot of counseling is required. I think just going by some of the things that he said, like I said, I don't want this to be too long, but going by some of the things that he said, one of the key things is about owning the decision that you make. And he looks like a very pragmatic person, and he and his partner unfortunately could not agree. They could not agree on a situation, and he decided to walk away. Now, however you want to judge him or his decision, whether you think he should have stayed regardless, And I just want to remind you that it's a couple's decision to to have the child. And yes, it's the woman's body. And the fact that he chose to walk away while respecting her decision to carry on, I think is something to I think is something to say, because some guys would have just walked away. That's it. So I think that's something in his favor. That's if you like, a good mark. The fact that he remains in contact with the mom and provides not just emotional support but financial support, because you heard him say that he pays child support, he pays 75% of medical bills, he pays 50% of other personal expenses. So he's not, the one thing that he does not do is that he says he's not going to see this child. And I some people might say that that's selfish, or that I think, and I want to propose that that's probably an emotional response coming from a deep place, that one, he had taken a decision based on the advice that they'd been given by at least 6 different practitioners, from what he says, that this is not a viable situation. And he decided that in that case, why, there are 2 different ways. He says, why would you want to bring in a child and allow them to go through that kind of torment or suffering, where 24/7 medical care, requires assistance for everything, unable to, at the age of 5, unable to speak, to walk, to eat independently. So you can see the picture that we're getting here, that this is not a very good one. And my heart goes out to the mother, because let's look at her point of view. Again, we haven't heard from her. We don't know what she thought and what she felt. Hi, if you're just joining, thank you so much for clicking on. We're talking about making tough decisions around prenatal screening and tests. And just in the last couple of minutes, we played a video from a man talking about his experience with his partner 5 years ago, when she fell pregnant. He was 20. She fell pregnant, and they were told by doctors that this child that they were carrying has genetic chromosomal abnormalities that meant that the child was not going to live a normal life, is the least way to put it. And he gave us a picture, a little snapshot into what the child's life is now. The child requires 24/7 medical care. The mom, fortunately for the mom, she has the support of her mom, so they are looking after the child together. And the child has medical needs, standby needs, because apparently, if the child tries to do anything, tries to move around, they're at risk of serious illness or even death. And he says they were given this information 4-5 years ago, and there was a chance at that point to terminate the pregnancy, but the mom did not want to do that, and so they had to go their separate ways. But he's kept in touch with her, providing her emotional support. So if you want to hear if you want to watch the video, please, you can play back this live stream, and I've shared it. It's not very long. But yes, I was just saying, with regards to the mother, and we don't know her thought process. We don't know what she feels. I'm by no means judging anyone, because, like I said at the beginning, you don't know how this feels until you're wearing the shoes and you're being pinched by the shoe yourself. Whether it's her religious beliefs, although he did say that she didn't have religious beliefs, but people don't have to have religious beliefs to take a particular stance. We don't know what decision what led her, despite hearing from 6 doctors that this child is going to have severe medical problems, but she chose to have the baby, even at considerable risk to herself, because the pregnancy and labor were not easy for her. And since she's had this baby, she basically, what we're hearing is that she's not lived a life. She can't, because all her attention has to be on this child. So, my heart also goes to her in sympathy, because you might say, well, she made the decision, but that's such a challenging situation that she finds herself in. And again, I say fortunate that she has support from family. She has support from her ex-partner, because I think he's still supportive, even though he says he's not seen the child. The worst scenario would have been that he just vanished. And so the mom in this really very difficult, she wouldn't have somebody to cry on when she has a bad day. She wouldn't have anyone's shoulders to just rant or just offload, because we're all human. It's not easy. Try being a carer just for a couple of hours, but having to be on standby, having to do this 24/7. So she has my sympathy. We don't know what pushed her into this decision. And then I do also hear the people saying, what about the child? Why make somebody suffer like this? What is the quality of life? And I want to emphasize that when doctors give this recommendation, doctors are not God. Doctors can't predict the future. All we have is based on evidence from studies and research that indicates that particular conditions will end like this. And that's what you'll be informed. If a doctor can't make you have the child or not have the child, they can't tell you that, well, you can't have the child. No. But they can tell you what might happen. They can say to you that based on, the information that we have, this is what might happen. And again, not challenging anyone's religious beliefs. Your faith is yours. But these are very tough decisions that I believe people need to sit down and think far and wide and search very, very carefully and be fully informed about what's involved, so that at no point down the line do you say, oh, I wish I had known, because you need to own your decision. This chap clearly owns his decision. From what I can see, he owns his decision. He listened to the doctors. He was very clear that this is what's going to happen. After he's spoken to his partner and she didn't feel the same as he did, he said, I'm going to walk away because I can't do this. He said, I can't do this at the age of 20. And I know this might sound harsh, but I really want us to sit up and really think about it. I can't do this at the age of 20, go into a situation where I'm 24/7 looking after a child. And I know this sounds really cold and painful to say this, but the suggestion is implied that after looking after this child, or after looking after, when you get through looking after this child, you are at the very real risk that they could pass on or they could die at any time. And so you're asking, why have I devoted all this time to doing this when the outcome was going to be this eventually? And again, we can't predict life. We're not God. We can't predict what's going to happen. But we can use the information that we have to hand to try and make decisions and look for how to live our lives. Because each of us have one life to live. And I just thought that it was interesting to look at the different aspects of this scenario. Nobody has heard from the child. Nobody has heard from the grandmom. And it cannot have been easy for the mom of this child. And my heart goes out to her, the decision that she had to take. I don't want to sort of sit here and say, oh, she was very stubborn. How could she be so mean? Let's not do that. And I would say to anybody who's going through this, because this is why this video is so important, anybody who's having to make these decisions, you need to be well informed. Okay, you need to be well informed so that you're making the choice, and the choice is based on information that is available, so that you know what to expect. And it's good to get factual information. It's good to look at your circumstance. It's good to look at what kind of medical care do you have in whichever part of the world you live in that can support you. What family do you have that can support you doing this? What kind of emergency care do you have? What does life actually mean to you? Okay, so for some people, a termination is completely off the cards. It's good to know who you are. Make your decision, own your decision. Like I said, this kind of thing is challenging. It will challenge relationships, challenge finances, challenge emotions, challenge religious beliefs, challenge cultures. It will challenge families. This is how important this is. So counseling, genetic counseling is so important. And it is, I mean, apart from the mom, I also feel for the child. Who we don't even know what their comprehension of their existence actually is. Because is it childhood, what they've been experiencing? What is their consciousness I don't know. We didn't give us that information, but we're told that they can speak, they don't walk, they don't talk, they don't move around, they need help in doing everything. So what is their consciousness and what is the quality? Do they appreciate do they experience and appreciate the love that they're getting? So many things here. This world, we're all different. We're full of the pragmatists that look at a situation incisively and say, well, I can take this or I can take that, don't cross, and move on. And some people who have other reasons, then they choose a different course. I want to, from the little that we heard, we don't know everything, but I want to applaud the support that he contributes to this, because having a child, it's two that contribute to having a child. And ideally, both parties should say, yes, we welcome this child and we want to support this child. And one party can say at one point that, based on what we've heard, this is a challenge. And I would, I'd just love to hear what different people say, about this young man's explanation of himself. And remember what he said to you. He said, what did he say? Let's see. How did he put it? That was so funny. He said that it's his thoughts. How did he put it? He said it's his choice and your thought process. So he's not, he's not saying this because he's bothered about what you think. I don't think he's being rude. I think he's just trying to come back to those who want to criticize, and as many people will, lots of people will see different parts of this and question, well, it's your child, so support them, be there for the mom, you should contribute, and so on. And I think, again, that as a person going through it, you're the best position to know how you're affected. My response would be, these are tough decisions, but know yourself, know what you can take and what you can't take. Find out as much information about this situation as possible and work it out. What's it going to take out of you? Yes, we can't predict the future, but if you're being told that they have severe chromosomal or genetic problems that will lead to medical problems that makes them require medical assistance or any kind of assistance 24/7, then you really need to think. You really need to think what is it that you want to do, and this is a human interest. It's a human interest issue. It's not easy. It's not easy. I would encourage anyone who's going through this to, make sure that you're getting as much information as you can. Stay close to those who love you. Follow your heart. Follow your heart. But look very, very carefully at the situation in which you find yourself. These are life decisions where there isn't always a definite yes answer or a definite no answer. And it depends on how much you can stretch or how much you can take yourself, you can pull yourself. We don't know how much the mom and her mother have had to be stretched to, to just manage the situation that they are in. So guys, let me know what you think in the comment section below. Let's round it up here. Thank you so much for watching. I would really love to hear from you. And to all those who might be going through something similar, having to make tough decisions in such circumstances, my thoughts are with you. It's not easy, but trying to keep a cool head, trying to look at all the information you have in front of you, looking at where your support is, both in terms of persons around you, resources, both financial resources, the kind of geography and society you live in, and so on, the kind of medical support that you have. Those are the key things I think that will help to make a decision. And It's a tough one, isn't it? No easy answers. No easy answers. Anyway, guys, thank you for watching. Let me know what you think about this video. Let me know your thoughts. Tell me what kind of things you'd like to see us sharing in future. Don't forget to give the video a like, and do consider subscribing to the channel. I shared our new website. Let me just get this. Let me get it up for you, because if you wanted to reach out to me, you can reach out on using our email health information service. So let me just share that with you and show you how to get on our website. Of course, it will be in the description box below. Once the video is over, I'm going to edit that so that you can have a look at it. But yeah, this is our new website. I'm really excited about it. We have just upgraded, done a lot of work on the site. So different sections, appointment booking, you can subscribe to our community. This is what we do. You can use our email health information service if you wanted to shoot an email out to me, private email with your inquiry, send it out. Might be on this topic or something else, and we will respond to you. Yeah, we've got lots of different things on here. You've got the digital concierge, so we can have a series of appointments with me to discuss issues or discuss a medical complaint over an extended period of time. We've got our free symptom checker. I'm really proud of this tool. So if you've got a particular condition and you want to know what it's likely to be or not, then use our symptom checker tool to do so. So yeah, there we go. There's the blog, which is updated every week with fresh new content covering so many different topics. Lots of things going on here. All right, guys. So thank you so much for sharing your Sunday afternoon or evening with me. I hope your week goes very well. Don't forget to look out for more videos coming out in the next few days. I hope that we're going to go back to our regular Friday live stream schedule and posting a video every Thursday. But have a great week, and I will see you again soon. Bye-bye.